I was wrong about woke. Wrong. Wrong, wrong. For years, my fellow free market thinkers warned me about the slippery slope of what was then called political correctness. And I would kind of chuckle and say, oh, don't worry about it. Let them have their foolish opinions. Let them say their provably false things. Let them live their lives. Who cares? Then it came. The woke tsunami. Starting really just in the past few years, you could suddenly be fired, censored, in some cases, placed under arrest for saying there are two genders, that climate change is not a catastrophe that requires punishing humans around the globe, and that a disease not particularly dangerous to most humans should not shut down the economy of the entire world. Well, I finally got it, and fortunately so did a lot of other people, including some you wouldn't necessarily expect it from. On the other hand, some previously brave people who you wouldn't necessarily expect to cave in to the woke mob capitulated completely. Now, in true leftist fashion, the woke mob is desperately trying to evade detection, claiming it's not a real thing, you can't define it, and if you can, you're a racist. But it's definitely here now and on full view. And in some ways, that actually makes it easier for people who still believe in a free society. Some years ago, I saw a quote that claimed that leftists were much more effective at boycotts than non-leftists, and I had to admit they were right. Many free market supporters like me, we just didn't want to believe that so many corporations, large and small, would openly abandon their fiduciary duty to their stockholders and fully embrace the value-destroying culture of woke. So we didn't really pay very much attention because we didn't really think it mattered. Clearly it did. The problem, when you get right down to it, is that many people who live in the supposedly capitalist United States of America, including, very disappointingly, way too much of corporate America, don't actually believe in capitalism. They do believe in making money, and slowly, over the years, it seemed to become less and less important to make quality, cost-effective products, and more important to appear virtuous. Free markets are a beautiful thing, and they've done more to improve the human condition than any other phenomenon known to man. But free markets are by their nature transaction-driven, and it's all too easy for governments to twist the profit motive in ways that allow it to acquire ever more power. The good thing is, in the end, governments and companies must answer to their constituencies and their customers. And so I have a theory about the future of woke. Hopefully, it will be more accurate than my theory that political correctness wasn't a particularly important issue. Now, my theory is that corporate wokeness can work for a while, but not forever. Let's take the cult of climate change as an example. Having lived through the 60s and 70s, climate change hysteria feels a lot like the population explosion hysteria that was in vogue then. In fact, I'd say the alleged climate threat actually seems less threatening. I honestly don't know if there were people in the 60s and 70s calling out the population bomb for the hoax that it was. These were the days when you got all your news from 3 TV channels and 2 radio stations. Without a doubt, today's social media has done a lot of damage, but it is now possible to find the truth if you look hard enough. Back then, not so much. Anyway, then as now, there was lots of legislation and many government programs, some, if you can believe it, even more detestable than what you see today. But at the end of the day, when people were asked to make major life changes to defuse this alleged bomb, they just shrugged and went on with their lives. If you tune out the droning of today's hysterical left, you see a similar pattern. Are most people willing to make major changes to their lives for an alleged minuscule reduction in the amount of carbon dioxide entering the atmosphere? I am guessing no. And I'm also guessing that when people go to buy their next stove or refrigerator or car, they're going to care less about the corporate messaging of the maker and more about whether it's a good product at a good price. Time will tell. In the meantime, slow adopters like me are finally coming around, and we are becoming much better at, as Eric July says, not buying things from people who hate us. Now, you know I never thought very much about Pride Month in the past, but for the first time, I can sincerely say I'm really looking forward to Pride Month 2024.